Hi, good morning. Event organizers say more than 7 million people participated in 2,700 No Kings demonstrations nationwide. It was larger in scope than the first No Kings rally back in June. Protesters say they were more fired up after seeing the president double down on issues like ICE detentions and National Guard deployments. Several Democratic lawmakers spoke at the protests, even though some protesters say they're not happy with the Dems either, wanting them to fight harder against the Trump administration.
Going to tear up the crown.
This is what democracy looks like.
We've got a guy in Washington, D.C. that thinks he's going to reap all of the benefits of being in charge. We're going to fight it.
President Trump, we don't want you or any other king to rule us.
We will never surrender. Donald Trump, stay the hell out of our city.
Donald Trump is not a king. Donald Trump is a bully.
House Speaker Mike Johnson says the protests were merely a cover for Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer as he caves to the far left flank in the government funding fight. President Trump is dismissing the demonstrations, too.
I think it's a joke. I looked at the people. They're not representative of this country. The demonstrations were very small, very ineffective, and the people were whacked out. When you look at those people, those are not representative of the people of our country. I'm not a king. I work my off to make our country great. That's all it is. I'm not a king at all.
For the most part, the No Kings rallies were peaceful, but tensions did escalate in Portland after hundreds of protesters moved to rally outside of the ICE facility in the city. 3 people were arrested.
Out here in MAGA country, we care about responsibly sourced free-range. So when I heard there was a No Kings rally, I said, yes, Queen, because I know where to get the top shelf. Right here in Nancy's backyard, San Francisco, the best wild-caught, sustainable free-range in the country. JD gasses up the jet, and as your president, I personally deliver this organic in a strafing run. Welcome to Trump Farms. It is good.
I'd buy it. I'd buy it. If Trump started Trump Steaks, Trump had a steak company, Trump Vodka. It's a Trump Steaks. Who ate some Trump steaks? I've eaten steak, actually, at a Trump property. So's clients. So's our entire team. We've had steak dinners at Trump properties. They're delicious. I have no idea if Donald Trump is the one who actually owns the farm, but they do actually own a farm. They own a farm in Virginia. I'm going down a rabbit hole here. Well, why don't we start over? Monday, October 20th, 2025. It is spooky season for the Trump administration as thousands of old, degenerate boomers let out of their nursing homes have called for Trump's assassination, celebrating Charlie Kirk's assassination. These people are old, wicked, and violent. What's happened here exactly? Like, what is going on? We have a diagnosis. They're not going to like it, but it's true. These people are godless. And, well, I guess that really amounts to everything. That's the difference. 93% of Republicans believe in God. Only 60% of Democrats, barely a majority, believe in God. And that's why they want to kill God's creation. And that's why they celebrate it. Some people are effing around. Some people are finding out. It's going to be a very, very interesting show, ladies and gentlemen. And it's gotten very serious as President Trump's security team found a sniper nest positioned perfectly in order to scope him getting out of his plane in Palm Beach. Say a prayer for Donald Trump. We will be saying those prayers with Representative Darrell Issa, Matt Schlapp of CPAC, and Savannah Chrisley on the show. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. The Federal Reserve has cut rates once again. What does that say about what's going on with our money supply? They're going to loosen up the money supply. They're going to devalue the dollar all over again. And, well, ladies and gentlemen, what happens then? Precious metals are going to spike through the freaking stratosphere. That's why you should lock in. My friends at Advantage Gold can take care of you. 2025 Gold and Silver Report is there, and it is ready to show you how America First investors can capitalize right now on the verge of the biggest precious metals rally in modern history. That's what's happening. You should text Benny to 85545 right now. Text Benny to 85545. Do it today and get a free copy of the 2025 Gold and Silver Report before the Fed's next move sends metals higher. Text Benny to 85545. Help protect your savings. Help secure your future. Go gold today. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe not a lot of gold, but a ton of silver hairs marching in the No Kings protests this weekend. And I want to talk about this phenomenon because it's something that is completely wild. It's something that even the libs in Boston doing local news couldn't help themselves in noticing. The libs in Boston saying, wait a second, like this crowd is really, really old. It's a big crowd too. There was some fake news. I had ALX check this. ALX, by the way, from Massachusetts, he would know. But also ALX AI checked this through. This is a legitimate video from the No Kings protest in Boston. This was taken this weekend. There are other videos that look like it. That was sort of like the news that they had reused a video from 2017. No, this is an authentic video from this weekend. It's also the authentic voice of a local news broadcaster. Listen to what they have to say.
Are there? This is an older crowd. There's not a lot of folks, and granted, it's a big crowd here. I'm not good at estimating, but it's definitely over 2,000, maybe close to 3,000. We can't see everyone, but it's an older crowd. A lot of white hair. You see out there, Q-tips, as we used to call them in the business. And they're out protesting, and not a lot of young people.
Well, if the fake news can see it, then so can you. Here's what I saw. Here's the literal proof of what we have been talking about on this program for a very long time. This is why I love you. This is why I love the chat. This is why the chat's on screen. You'll never find a show that is a bigger fan of audience engagement, going back and forth, rolling through, and making sure that we are taking a community approach here to like how we cover news. You know, I saw one of you commented, maybe it was you. One of you commented that like the No Kings protest looks like the nursing home. We're let out. And that is absolutely true. In fact, our team scoured the internet and found this video. This is a real video. It's not a skit that we put on. We didn't pay these people in, applesauce or lotto tickets or anything. This is a real video authentically filmed at a senior living center, where the residents of that senior living center are being wheeled out. Most of them are being wheeled out because they can't move under their own power. And they're going to their No Kings protest. The person commenting right now on this feed, your chats are up on screen right now. You, the person commenting, you were right. Thank you. This is why we love you. You were right. We found the proof that that's actually what these protests are. Why would this work? Why does this make a ton of financial sense? Well, one, these old boomers, they're constantly banging on. These old left-wing boomers, by the way, I'm not trying to be ageist. The right-wing boomers are the best. But these old lib boomers who have miserable lives, they voted themselves into becoming millionaires with their little houses that they bought for 7 raspberries in the 1960s. And now they live in these old assisted living centers because their children don't want to take care of them, because their children don't like them, because they're so annoying, or they don't have any children. And so they just like forced to die with their cats, sleeping on their faces when they pass. That happens a lot. Super creepy. Anyway, they've lived miserable lives. And the only flame that they have to warm themselves with in their old age is not beautiful grandchildren or great-grandchildren. It's not the things that actually bring you eternal happiness and purpose. It's memories of the 1960s and 70s. Klein, if you wouldn't mind, roll that one more time. And their glory days, going to Haight-Ashbury, destroying San Francisco, destroying the incredible culture that was like given to them, flooding it with third world criminal aliens, devaluing the dollar, voting themselves lavish riches out of the treasury through Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, and so on. And ladies and gentlemen, now they are being trotted out because the nursing homes need free things to do for activity hour for these old boomers that just continue to bang on about their glory days. Remember when it's San Francisco and the Vietnam War protest? That was great. Okay, Grandpa, here we go. Roll out. We got another one for you. Roll out. You can be the change. You can definitely do this. Go to the No Kings protest. Got it? These are the same people. These are the No Kings people. These exact same people in this video are the ones who wanted to shut down all of our young lives for a cold. They wanted you to lose your job. They wanted your children not be able to go to school. They wanted you to double mask. They wanted you to stand in little circles They all voted for Joe Biden. They wanted to shut down our social media. They wanted to shut down our ability to speak. They wanted to open up our borders by fiat, not totally against American law. They believe in sanctuary cities. They want us to take all your guns. They want to take your freedom of speech. They want to take your freedom of movement, freedom of commerce. And they're the ones saying no kings. They're the ones voting for Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, who have been in Congress in their seats for a total of 80 years between the two of them. These are the people who love Mitch McConnell, Nancy Pelosi, and Chuck Schumer, who between the three of them have served over 120 years in their seats. They're the ones saying, no kings. No kings. No. They're the ones. They're the ones saying it. These people don't make no sense exactly. Because it sounds like what they want is actually to live exactly like a king, just a left-wing tyrant king, which is what they voted for in Joe Biden. Literally the mad king, King George. Go study King George. He had whatever Biden has. The guy didn't make sense for the last 20 years of his reign. But these people are absolutely in favor of monarchy. They just want degenerate, hedonistic, pagan left-wing monarchies. And that's why the No Kings protests are so old. Because all these boomers who have no kids or grandkids, they have to find things for them to do, free things for them to do during activity hour in the nursing home. And if they go to the protest, they get extra cinnamon in their applesauce after activity hour. And the boomers, they'll sleep for 2 days after that. They're tuckered out. They're like, so tired. And they'll go to sleep. It's the best thing for the Haitians that run the nursing homes. This is the greatest thing that ever happened. They love it. They love it. Anyway, that's my rant. Rant over. You can see that. You can see them everywhere. It was illegal for anybody under the age of 50 to go to the No Kings rallies this weekend. And why is that? Part of it is sort of tongue in cheek. I'm making a joke about nursing homes and senior citizen centers and stuff like that. It's nothing worse than old, sad, dusty left-wing communists from the 70s trying to relive their glory days. Oh yeah, these are the moves that got me syphilis back in San Francisco, 1969. That's right. I'm no fortunate son. Call me Antifa. Look at Grand Tifa. Grand Tifa is what we'll call him. It's Grand Tifa. What? Why? Why are there no young people? Why are there no young people? I mean, look at this guy who dressed up as Charlie Kirk's assassin. Dude literally dressed up as the guy who killed Charlie Kirk. These are the people, not this guy. The guy who dressed up as Charlie Kirk. There you go. I mean, that guy is calling for the death of Trump. This guy's dressed up as look at this guy. They're venerating the murderer of Charlie Kirk. What's going on here? They're so excited that Charlie's dead. And they say it again and again and again. This crazy ass old lady saying that I'm really excited that Charlie's dead. The perfect archetype. She's probably 75. She's the perfect archetype. This is a full video. Okay. Is it just the end? All right, here we go. Yeah, let's go.
We need to get ourselves together, and we might even need to be a little bit meaner.
Yeah.
Because the Republicans don't mind being mean.
And by mean, what do you mean? Do you mean protesting? Do you mean...
Maybe we have to, stop being so nice.
You seem like a pretty nice lady.
I'm a pretty nice lady, but I can be pretty mean, too.
Okay, and I have to ask this because people on the other side are going to say that they feel like the Democrat Party has been mean. Recently, with Charlie Kirk being assassinated,
He's a piece of garbage. Of course we were mean. I am so tired of people saying, oh, but, it's a terrible thing. No, Hitler is dead. I'm glad Hitler's dead. Evil people have no place in my world. He was a hateful human being. It was disgusting, the things that he said and did. I don't have time for that. I'm sorry. I have to point my energy in other directions.
Charlie Kirk has no place in my world. He deserved it, is what she said. Said he deserved it, is what she says. Oh, well, you just found one violent old people old person. She's probably off her SSRIs, right? Her meds. You can't find more than one, can you? Can you? Let's see. Here's a guy, same age, 75, walking around with an 8647 shirt on. Maybe he doesn't know what it means.
8647, explain it to me. I like the colors.
Kill the son of a bitch.
Kill who?
Wow, the 47th president.
Really? What's your name?
Dick Safer.
Glad we got that on camera.
Oh, okay. Just kill Trump, is what he says. Kill the 47th president, is what he says. What the hell is going on here exactly? Well, the left has lost the capacity to rule. They've lost institutional power, regulatory power, cultural power. This degenerate, please put this guy back up. They lost the power because of guys like Charlie Kirk, the guy who dressed as Charlie Kirk's assassin here. I don't know his identity. I'd really like to figure this out. They have lost everything, and they've lost the argument. And so now they're going to resort to violence. And they've embraced it wholly. The entire party has embraced it. Now, why are no young people wanting to be leftists anymore? Well, because, again, young people like good energy, positive energy, energy that like points to the future. They've always liked that. They've always wanted that. They want to rebel against broken systems. And the broken system is our federal government. The broken system is obviously the Marxism, neo-Marxism that has been shoved down everyone's throats by people like this for the better part of the last 70 years, where they have had wholesale control of every law firm, entertainment agency, federal agency, regulatory agency, complete and total capture of power. No, we want power returned to the people. That's what liberty and freedom actually is, and that's the coolest rebellion ever. And that's why young people are attracted to the right, and that's why young people are America first. These people have been selling boomer communism for the better part of the last 50 years. 70 years. It's 2025, almost 2026. It's been the same story since the 60s. You killed JFK, and that started a whole new American revolution by the communists. And it's old, and it's tired, and it's broken, and young people reject it. And that's why you don't see any young people at these protests. I make jokes about nursing homes. I still think that's true. I have the videos to prove it, but really that's at the core of this, is that they're not attracting young people. When they attract young people, these are the types of young people that they're attracting. This woman is going viral right now for asking for a birthday wish. These are the types of people. Now, when some of the biggest lie, perhaps the biggest lie ever told, like Sunday school lie, is that like the outside of a person doesn't actually reflect the inside of a person. I'm not sure if this is actually doctrinal when it comes to Christendom. I'd have to think about it. I don't pretend to be some type of like, master or I don't read the Bible in Greek or Latin or anything like that. The Lord says your body is a temple, however. But I'm telling you that like when you see someone hideous on the outside, it often does reflect something wrong on the inside. I'm not talking about like, I'm not talking about like they have a missing tooth or something. Like I'm talking about people that like are clearly reflective of a life of self-loathing. Again, we are all created and stamped with the mark of our Creator. Every life is precious. Our body is a temple unto the Lord, and you should treat it like that. But the next two videos I'm going to show you are from hideous people, inside and out. A Ronald Dahl quote, he's like a famous author, wrote a bunch of like famous children's books. Fantastic Mr. Fox, and Sidewalk Ends. Ronald Dahl, author and poet, he says, and I'm paraphrasing here, but an individual who's hideous on the outside, who's hideous on the inside, correction. This is why I don't paraphrase smart people, actually. An individual who's hideous on the inside, no matter how beautiful they are on the outside, their hideousness will eventually twist and warp and distort and ruin them. They'll become ugly on the inside and outside. You can't mask it forever. You can't hide it forever. You ever seen like Hollywood bombshells that are like hot, but like that they're like woke monsters, and like in like almost like a season, suddenly they just turn into absolute goblins. These are the things that happen, right? Is this it? Is this the quote? Man, Klein, you were killing it today, bro. A person's ugly thoughts begins to show it in their face. Uh-oh. A person that has ugly thoughts, it begins to show in their face. And when that person has ugly thoughts every day, every week, every year, it gets uglier and uglier until you can hardly bear to look at it. A person who has good thoughts cannot ever be ugly. You can have a wonky nose or a crooked mouth and double chin, stick out your teeth, but if you have good thoughts, then you will shine from your face like sunbeams, and you will always look lovely. I'm going to show you some people with ugly thoughts. Here's a woman, no doubt a public school educator, explaining what she wants for her birthday wish.
So this is your birthday, so you came out on your birthday, you thought it was important. Tell me why.
Absolutely, because I have 2 little boys who deserve a bright future of freedom and democracy, and this is a nightmare that I'm living in, and I'm here to make a difference and to be loud and proud, and there's no other way I'd want to celebrate my birthday than with my parents and my best friend fighting for our country.
So, okay, so for a birthday present, what do you hope happens? You know, you wake up tomorrow morning.
I hope that I see the obituary that we're all waiting for tomorrow. That's what I hope for. Yeah.
you wishing that President Trump is dead?
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've been live for just like not too long, but the show's been live for 20 minutes, and I've been able to show you here. Let's show this one. Here's a good one. I've been able to show you. I can show you dozens of examples of people calling for the death, celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, or calling for the death of Donald Trump. This man right here is actually calling for a literal insurrection against ICE. We're working on getting like a DHS spokesperson. I'd love to get Trish McLaughlin on to talk about this, or somebody from the DOJ to chat with us today about this. We're working on it right now. Obviously, they're very busy people, but we want to get a spokesperson on to answer for this. Like, what the hell is going on here? Okay, so this man at the No Kings rally has been identified as Moises Bernthal, an employee at Wilbur Wright College in Chicago. Let's go ahead and listen to what he has to say. What does he have to say? He teaches at a university. He teaches our children. So what does he have to say to our children?
You gotta grab a gun. We gotta turn around the guns on this fascist system. These ICE agents gotta get shot and wiped out. The state machinery, that's a full display right there, has to get wiped out.
Well, dude, you're literally saying anything. Like, there's nothing that happened on January 6th that's even comes close to that. You're saying that we got to grab guns, turn them on ICE, and wipe them all out. That's what he said. That's not me paraphrasing. That's an exact quote. What's going to happen with this guy? What's going to happen with this lady? Here's a teacher mocking Charlie Kirk's death. She reenacts Charlie Kirk's death on camera. The backstory here is that there's these dudes who's driving around. These dudes who are driving around. You know, the balls on these guys, good for them. In a red truck with a sign outside the truck saying Charlie Kirk's a hero. And so this is her responding to the sign that says Charlie Kirk. And her response is to reenact Charlie Kirk's murder. Let's go ahead. So if you... Yeah, there you go. You can see her there. 2 shots to the neck. Bang, bang, she says, as she points to her neck. Wise people online who were paying attention said, well, you know, this absolute monster on the inside and outside, remember the Ronald Dahl quote, remember the scriptures about your body as a temple, people that don't treat their body as a temple or sacred are in the sunken place. This woman is in the absolute sunken place. And that's not even if she's standing on a trampoline, you know what I mean? This lady is saying she's celebrating and reenacting Charlie Kirk's assassination. Wise people online said, this is definitely a public teacher. Like, before we had any idea who she was, people are like, how long is it until we find out that she's a teacher at a school? Well, actually, just about an hour or so since the video went viral. She is, of course, a teacher at a school. Here you go. Nathaniel Hale Elementary School in Chicago. This teacher, named Lucy Martinez, teaches at this school. She matches the description. You're able to find her pay stubs, their public records. Looks exactly like Lucy Martinez at the school What does the school do? The school deletes all their accounts. School's accounts are all gone. How do you know that you're probably over the target? The school's not saying like, no, what do you mean? We would never hire somebody that would celebrate the assassination of somebody so beloved by our students and young people. No, the school has completely wiped out all their accounts. In fact, they offlined their entire website, which it seems crazy because this is a public school. How can you even do this? They offlined their website so no one can even access the website itself. This is an archive. This is what the school website actually looks like today. School website look like today, like it's totally under construction. ALX, please send the ALX or a producer, please send the link. You can't find the school. There it is. Perfect, Klein. Under construction. Really? So they offline the entire school website? Seems a little suspicious, a little guilty. They're monsters, these people. What is this exactly? We know. You're not going to like it. We know what's going on with Grand Tifa, though. They ain't going to like it, but we know what's going on. Here it is. It's pretty simple. We talked about it actually in a speech this weekend, and we're going to keep talking about it. The difference between the parties. America First, Republicans, engage in behaviors that provide meaning. Oh my goodness, is that Grand Tifa? Is there really a Grand Tifa photo? Is that real? Is that AI? I don't think so. Goodness gracious. Grand Tifa. There it is. Okay, so leave that up. Let's just talk through this real quick. These people bought every single lie. They're the last generation that believes what they see on TV. Okay, so we can start there, right, as in our diagnosis. Last generation that's kind of like, I believe everything I see on TV. And they're addicted to MSNBC, CNN all day. But you got to zoom out on that. You got to zoom out on what is the actual worldview of these people? And the actual worldview of these people is selfish hedonism. Self-serving, hedonistic, godless behavior. This is the generation that saw the first decline in belief in God. And this is the generation that, of course, raised one of the most nihilistic generations in American history. We've been having to claw our way out of the hole that was left for us by an absolutely and totally self-serving, selfish, and truly self-loathing, inward-looking generation that has left the country worse. And it's the first generation in American history that did that left the country worse off for their children. There is absolutely no other way to say it. There's no way to speak about it other than that. And they're living out their values. And what are those values? This is the generation that believes in evolution, that rejects God by very large numbers. And what happens when you reject God? Well, you reject the divinity of his creation. You reject that God maketh man and woman and stamps us with the mark of the Creator. We're different from the animals. You start treating people like animals. What's the first page of the Communist Manifesto? We got to get rid of the church. We got to get rid of the family. We got to get rid of capitalism. Private business, private property, the family, and the church. These are the things that Marx went after. And these people have bought it all. And if you deny the sovereignty of the Creator, then you won't see any value in his creation, obviously. And so you'll celebrate Charlie dying. Because what you'll see is you'll say power is it. There's nothing but power. This is what the communist says. There is nothing but power. Power emanates from the end of a gun. It's a Mao Zedong quote. And so you'll say, I don't want Trump to live. I don't want Charlie to live. I'm perfectly fine with that. That's aligned with my worldview. There's a godless worldview. According to Gallup, 60% of Democrats believe in God. 60 only. And that's probably high. This is from a few years ago. 93% of Republicans believe in God. That's your difference. But then not only that, like Republicans do things that provide value to our lives. We're engaged in our church. We believe in God. We're engaged in our community. We look outward to build, not inward. Looking inward is where you get gender bending. It's where you get 279 different genders. Looking inward is where you get, obviously, the crippling selfishness and self-loathing. Looking inward is a way to live a nihilistic and awful life. Looking outward, building something that you can be part of, being proud of your nation, your country, your community, your church, your religion, your family, the core unit of structure for outward dominance and building is a father protecting his family. That is the core structure. That is why Christ likens himself and the church as the bride. He uses the family unit to liken himself with the church, to use that structure laid out to say, this is the building block of all good. And these people, they reject it. They've rejected that. They've done it with their whole lives. It's been a nightmare. The returns are in, and it's been a nightmare what this generation has wrought on the country. And now you're seeing it in its death throes now. As they spittle coming out of their mouth, their dentures flopping around, celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, calling for the death of Trump. It's an awful and despicable ideology, and it needs to be salted from the earth. It is the rejection of God, and that's why what we are fighting is godliness versus godlessness. And you can see the results of godlessness in Grand Tifa and here with Nancy Pelosi trying to break a crown, which is my single favorite video from the entire day. This is Nancy Pelosi at a No Kings protest. They don't show the audience. I think this is at her senior home. I don't know. But she has a plastic crown, no doubt made for 10 cents in China, which, of course, Nancy Pelosi's entire life work is to make sure that everything can be manufactured in China and nothing is ever manufactured in America. That all American jobs go to communist China. Nancy Pelosi, hands shaking, like dentures flopping out of her mouth, says, I'm going to snap this crown. And watch what happens here.
I'm going to tear up the crown.
You have to see it. I mean, obviously Killer Klein sees it. Any editor will see it. And they're trying to be tricky here. But what you can see here is she tries to tear the crown, and she can't. She does one big motion, and her frail little arms nearly snap. So then they do this. This is a big jump cut. You can see the colors change, this massive lens flare, and you can see the jump cut. And they have to, what I think happened here, this is like my Zapruder film, all right? This is like we're going to take this frame by frame. What I think happened here is probably a staffer who's of right mind and strength came in there and pre-broke the crown for her so that Nancy Pelosi could like just pretty much like pull the pieces apart at the end. There you go. And she's very proud of herself, right? With her whatever teeny little audience she's speaking to. Why is this so ironic and hilarious self-owned? Because Nancy Pelosi is, by every measure, more of a monarch than some of the most monarchs that ever monarched, that ever reigned. The average years of rule for an English king, which is the oldest surviving dynasty in the world, is 18 years. This is the average reign of an English monarch. Nancy Pelosi has been in office for twice that many years. She's been in office for 38 years. So Nancy Pelosi is pushing 40 years in the House of Representatives. 38 years. And she's running for re-election. Nancy Pelosi got into the House when I was a few months old in 1987. She's been continuously serving for 38 years. This is longer than the vast majority of monarchs ever reigned or ruled. Nancy Pelosi has then been able to vote herself by fiat exorbitant riches out of the public treasury using insider knowledge to do criminal trades. Nancy Pelosi's net worth is what exactly, Klein? Around $300,000. Nancy Pelosi's net worth, right there. Yeah, great. I'm going to just round up 300,000. 300 million, correction. I'm so sorry. $300,000. Yeah, Maybe when she started Congress. When did she start in Congress? Well, her daddy, Democrat Kingmaker, who was the mayor of Baltimore, ran for president as a Democrat, was like a mob boss. Daddy Pelosi, I think the maiden name was D'Alessandro, he set up Nancy. Daddy Kingmaker, actually, she inherited everything. Very regal of Nancy. So she inherits her position. She inherits her power. That's why there's photos of Nancy Pelosi and JFK. Wild. Nancy Pelosi, how did Nancy Pelosi like work for and with JFK? Oh, her daddy set her up for everything. So she inherited her position. She stole all of her money. She's been a contiguous ruler for 40 years. And she says that Donald Trump, who's been in office for 4.5 years, is the problem. There it is. Look at that. Like the Queen of England right here. And I think she has more power, actually, than the Queen of England. Look at this. Look at this broad. And she has the cheek to sit there in some little video and say that Donald Trump is the problem. And she can barely rip the crown. She didn't want to rip the crown. She didn't want to do it. Because Nancy Pelosi is the American version of political dynastic power. Her, McConnell, Schumer, between the three of them, you have 120 years of nonstop linear rule. It's sick. A lot of these people do die in office. I don't wish that on anyone. But the senator from California, she died in office. Not Barbara Streisand. Sorry, what? Feinstein. Dianne Feinstein. There you go. She literally like she had like terminal illness, and she was like up in Congress, just sitting there, and refused to leave, and she died in office. Like a monarch. I mean, like people who are like ruling on the throne, and they just die as king or queen. Nancy Pelosi is the iconoclast of that. So for her to critique Trump, is really the last straw on all of this. Donald Trump wasn't having any of it. Here's Trump's response.
What's your response to the protests over the weekend, the No Kings protests?
I think it's a joke. I looked at the people. They're not representative of this country. And I looked at all the brand new signs paid for, I guess it was paid for by Soros and other radical left lunatics. It looks like it was. We're checking it out. The demonstrations were very small, very ineffective, and the people were whacked out. When you look at those people, those are not representative of the people of our country.
Mr. President, besides San Francisco...
And by the way, I'm not a king. I'm not a king. I work my ass off to make our country great. That's all it is. I'm not a king at all.
Trump is not a king, but he might be a meme king. He may be a meme king. I mean, here's a meme that President Trump posted of him in a crown in an F-22, and he's dropping what looks like to be raw sewage on the No Kings protest. Oh, you got to get me the other one of J.D. Vance. You got to get me the J.D. Vance meme that he posted. The White House has been loving this. The White House has been like memeing itself through all of this. This is amazing, by the way. Harry Sisson is this left-wing influencer. I'm not sure you can really call him an influencer, but he's something. You know, he's like paid propaganda. He actually works for like a Nancy Pelosi like management firm. He's the guy that got pooped on here by President Trump. And President Trump's F-16 as he's dropping fecal matter on the No Kings protesters. Harry Sisson had a big crash out online. ALX production team, we have to show it. We have to. I know I'm asking for one or two quick things. And we have Daryl Issa, who's going to be on in just a moment. He's from California, and he can maybe respond to all of this. But like Harry Sisson had this massive crash out where he's like, can somebody ask the president, like, why is he pooping on me? And it's a critical question. I hope someone does. In fact, J.D. Vance responded, and we have to put them up. And there's the only way. It's the only way. It's the only way. Can a reporter please ask Trump why he posted an AI video? And I'm glad he said an AI video because nobody was sure if this was actually Trump We don't know. It could have actually been Trump in the F-22 with a crown, dropping poop on me from a fighter jet. That would be great. Thanks. Because it's hilarious, little bro. Says Team Benny member, Kangmin. Hey Alex, please get Kangmin a Team Benny icon on X. Thank you. And here's JD Vance's response. I'll ask him for you, Harry. JD Vance also posted this amazing meme of his own, and I'm going to play this to Klein. I want to play the song. So I want to play the song. The song is too beautiful. I want to play it, and I'll suffer the consequences. I want to play it. The Reign of the King. Let's go. Hail to the King. Hail to the world. Kneel to the crown. Stand in the sun. Hail to the King. Yes. President Trump live soon, responding to all this. We're very excited about it. We're very excited for you, by the way, to embrace your golden moment with American financing. It is the golden era of America, but you can't embrace that golden era if you're in the shackles of slavery. What do I mean by that? Well, if you are caught in the trap of high interest credit card debt, you are enslaved. That just is what it is, man. It sucks. And there's a lot of bills that have just gotten out of control, something that we really need to have a strategic plan to get out of: gas prices, grocery prices, and the prices of buying a house. Now, ladies and gentlemen, American Financing can help you get out of that high-interest credit card debt. They're saving their customers thousands of dollars a year and resettling and ensuring that you can make sure that you are debt-free. That's what should be all of our goals, including from our federal government. Call now before it's too late. Call American Financing at 888-528-1219. That's 888-528-1219. AmericanFinancing.net/Benny. Call today. Ladies and gentlemen, Congressman Issa from California joining the show to talk about dynastic Nancy Pelosi power and the meme power of the White House. Let's rock and roll. And Congressman, welcome back to the program. The cheek of Nancy Pelosi saying that Donald Trump is in fact a king when she is the American version of dynastic power by every measure. You're from California. What say you?
Well, I had the honor of seeing her motorcade go by me for a very long time. Saw her be the Speaker of the House twice, but the ruler of the Democratic Party practically the last quarter of a century after she toppled the existing, her predecessors. Look, it's an interesting thing to watch somebody who stands in front of a $10,000 refrigerator at her home, telling people as she eats a $5 ice cream, that life's really tough, or for that matter, looking at the very formative fence around their property and their armed guards and talking about why we don't need to secure the border. Nancy has been an enigma in her own way for her entire life. A person of the people, by the people, and made by the mob. That just sort of goes with Nancy. Having said that, I'm going to pause and say, I understand she's a very good mom and a loving wife. So, she has her attributes, but her biggest attribute is that she's a hard-knuckled, long-standing leader of her party, only really toppled by her age and not giving up. Now she is like you put the old queen in the tower, and she kind of comes down on somebody's hair. She absolutely is not quitting, and this is no exception. She can no longer break a piece of plastic from China. She's still going to continue to do it and continue to be at the center of it all. The same thing's happening, Benny, with these so-called no king rallies. I don't know if Soros is running out of money, but the crowds keep getting smaller. The signs are the same, pre-printed. I always love the signs at these rallies where they look like they're written by hand, but they're actually printed in mass.
Yeah.
And everybody tells you they used to be Republicans, but they've left the party. And you go, but I saw you protesting 10 years ago. It's kind of like you've been to Capitol Hill, those ladies in pink,
Code Pink. Code Pink, they're great.
For 25 years, the same ladies have been doing it. They're just older, same ladies now.
So, you're talking about Grand Tifa. There's a fascinating thing that I think the vast majority of the internet noticed, including a number of corporate media reporters, that these protests are it's not the party of the young anymore. It's the party of my theory here, and maybe you're much smarter than me, so maybe you could shed some light on this, is that nursing homes need activities that are safe and easy for their residents. And I think that the nursing homes offer extra cinnamon on the applesauce for dinner if they go to the No Kings rally. And that's how you get Grand Tifa. But I don't know. I don't have investigatory or subpoena power. You do, Congressman. So maybe you can elucidate for us.
Well, every time we get to the bottom, all we find is the same group of financiers and their dark money. So, there's almost no point in going back to it for the same reason as there's kind of, as you say, there's a look now, and that look is very old, retired, willing to pick up a little extra dollars at Soros's expense and showing up at these events. And when you find a young person, they're a union leader at SAIU. That's just the nature of
or a public school teacher. Yeah, or a public school teacher, the one that did this motion to Charlie. And this is something that obviously hits near and dear to me because Congressman, we've known each other for a while. And I'm just such a big fan of what you've done. You've always been a very decent and honorable member of Congress. Dude, it's been so hard to watch people lie on the name of Charlie Kirk, dance on his grave. This is this public school teacher in Chicago that is sitting there venerating the assassin, reenacting Charlie's murder. What can be done here to investigate these, the wickedness of people like this who are taking public monies, by the way, and then passing on this hatred to our children? Seems completely off.
Well, Betty, sometimes the most important thing we can do is expose it. And it's been pretty well exposed. And the ridicule that's coming from people throughout the political spectrum is probably the appropriate punishment. I think President Trump is rightfully staying focused on making America greater again, and restoring the set of values that allow Americans to live their own lives, to control the raising of their children and the conduct of their community. And if we stay focused on that, it's a full-time job. As you know, the president works 18, 20 hours a day and would like to work more. So distraction is something that I think all of us have to be careful not to get too involved in. Yes, it's important to have people like yourself reminding people, exposing it, and hopefully passing it on. But as somebody who for years realized that you could do 2,000 letters in a year, opening investigations, you could really only do a few good investigations. And I think the investigations that into those who really do want to promote violence are important. To those who commit crimes are important. And so that's where the Attorney General and her people are really focusing on it, is to get the worst of the worst and try not to be distracted by the hate and the fear that is being out there, because there's too much of us for us to change, but we can change those who have led to violence, and we can go after the leaders who are spreading this kind of hate. You and I both knew Charlie and knew that he would have responded to her with a smile. He would have responded with a kind word, maybe a little bless your heart. He would never respond by getting angry over somebody's anger, fear, and hatred. He would instead turn the other cheek. And I'm not saying for us to turn the other cheek, but I'm saying let's not have the anger that was certainly not part of Charlie. He would always turn people who were against him, at least back to the center, by showing that he did what he did out of love, kindness, and to be honest, he was a happy warrior in the best sense.
Yeah, that's fine, and I'm perfectly happy to engage in good faith debate. But this isn't good faith debate, Congressman. These are people that are celebrating murder and calling for Donald Trump's murder, and they did so yesterday, and they did so when we found a sniper nest right outside of President Trump's plane embarkment, right there in the middle of Palm Beach, where there's not a lot of hunting, not a lot of whitetail running through Palm Beach in Florida. And I think it's gotten extremely serious, and it's immoral to unite with people that want you dead, and you cannot make peace with evil as Christians. And so it's I think it's a really tough spot. But the only true answer is the answer that this ideology must be crushed and defeated. I just don't really want to. If you're having a good faith conversation, I mean, we had Rokan on the show last week. If you're having a good faith conversation, then that's fine. But it's a totally separate thing to say Jay Jones should be the Attorney General of Virginia, who wants to murder Republican children. That should be wholesale rejected.
Well, and you hit several examples of criminal behavior, getting to the people who obviously were looking at either killing the president or downing his aircraft or both, going after people who specifically incite. Those are great examples. But what we're seeing is the Main Street media has gone silent, which, by the way, is a huge change. People like yourself and others have created a situation in which they're less willing to be carriers of the absolutely false statements. And I'm seeing it. I watch all the channels, as does the president, for a reason, because they know that their message wasn't working, that they can't continue to make the outrageous false statements with impunity. And that's making a real difference in how people view things. We still have a long way to go. There are still people who actually believe that the president doesn't care about them, that the president isn't concerned and isn't trying to reopen the government, when in fact the president is doing everything, including reaching out repeatedly with that olive branch, that of course he wants to make sure that he deals with healthcare costs and driving it down. Well, the false narrative of the Democrats is that somehow they're keeping the government closed because we don't want to help keep costs low. Just the opposite. We're living with Obamacare's massive wrong direction. And on November 1st, when the rates go up, whether we subsidize part of it or not, the rates are still going up because of mistakes made years ago that President Trump is reversing as we speak. And you're seeing these costs go down. You're seeing improvements. But it is, in fact, one of those things where as long as we're closed and 5 senators won't switch sides to at least reopen the government, the president has to do extraordinary things like find a way to get our military paid in spite of a lack of operation by the Congress. I'm here in Washington right now, absolutely prepared to vote. The speaker is here, but we're not going to call people back when we don't have something to respond to. We gave them a clean CR that they had all voted for before. The only difference on the piece of paper was the date. And they decided to close down the government. And so we're having to communicate in a vacuum.
I want to give you the last word here, Congressman. Obviously, we have just massive respect for you and your work, especially on the Judiciary Committee. A bit of a legend there. But you serve on this committee. There's obviously been a considerable amount of indictments, James Comey, Letitia James, John Bolton. And there's many people, little birdies chirping at us saying they're just getting started. Can you give me some insight into what's going to happen in the judiciary? What can we expect when the government reopens and when the gears start turning again?
Well, we have a very, very large amount of subpoenas out there, some of which are going on. We're still doing the depositions and so on. And even during the closure, that's still business we're allowed to do. So we're going to be prepared when we reopen. And you hit just a good example of the tip of the iceberg. There are lots of people who were guilty of false statements and criminal activity, Adam Schiff being one of them, we all know, that hasn't been indicted. But, you know, he not only lied in plain sight and disclosed information, but he vilified his fellow colleagues falsely. So, you know, should he be held accountable? Absolutely. Is the Attorney General looking at it? Absolutely. Will anyone in Congress feel that it is unfair if he is indicted for his criminal activity? I don't think so, not a bit.
Really? The senator from your state is, you're saying that he's going to be indicted?
Well, I'm saying that he could well be indicted. He committed crimes in plain sight. People know that he made false statements, that he revealed information, that he abused his office, and he did so at a high cost. And, you know, look, the president has taken a little bit of a pushback. You know, you see him tweeting, but he's not calling the attorney general into his office and saying, go do this. Just the opposite. She has a great team that is doing their job, including obviously the FBI. But the fact that it's 7 or 8 months, if Trump was going to weaponize, those indictments would have been on day 1 or day 2. The fact is that investigations are going on. The Attorney General and the FBI director, they're doing their job, and they're finding appropriate places to do it. Look, Ambassador Bolton is a longtime friend of many of us, but if he committed these crimes, he probably, and I think the evidence looks pretty strong, he needs to work out a plea deal. He needs to put this behind him. The reality is, I don't think the president has anything to do with Bolton's indictment. It was the work was begun under Joe Biden. It just they had to follow it where it went. So, you know, you hear a lot of things in the press. I know that the Attorney General is doing her job, that Cash is doing his job at the FBI, and if they follow things and they lead places, they're going to go there regardless of the party.
So just really quickly here, since you brought it up, you said that you're still doing subpoenas. I think that Bill and Hillary Clinton were supposed to be subpoenaed about Jeffrey Epstein. Is that happening?
You know, that one I don't know. I do know that we're not closing any of that. We've agreed to continue. As you know, people on both sides of wanting more information serve on judiciary. And Chairman Jordan is doing a superb job of making sure that we do follow everything, but we follow it the appropriate way, which is not on the House floor, but in depositions where all the answers, all the questions can be asked and re-asked until answers are given.
So is Bill Clinton, do you intend on Bill Clinton answering actual questions about Jeffrey Epstein? Because like they had that whole thing with all the victims up there on Congress, and this lady's like, yeah, I was on this plane with Bill Clinton. It was terrible. Like, it ruined my life. And nobody asked a follow-up. I'm like, that's a big thing to say. Kevin Spacey out saying like that he took these flights with Bill Clinton all around the world and Epstein's jet. He seems like the only guy that hasn't had to answer any questions about this.
Well, he and she have been very good at if you put them in public, the way they'll answer questions will be so evasive, and they'll do it for 9 hours and then say, oh, I answered for 9 hours without answering a question. The reason we do depositions behind closed doors, as investigations are normally done everywhere, is so that people, you know, we look and say, look, until you answer the question, you're going to be here, and there's no sympathy and there's no video for you to tout. So if Chairman Jordan has somebody there, he'll have them until they answer, and that would include the former president or the former Secretary of State.
Got it. As Congressman, I know that you have to run. I know that you have to move. I just want to give you one final word. California, voter ID. Can we do it? Can it happen? Will it save California?
It's a start. It's a down payment. The fact is we're a blue state, but we are a lot less blue than people would have you believe. And Real ID being implemented, something we've done federally in the state, absolutely is going to be on the ballot. I believe it'll pass overwhelmingly. Look, I have a lot of faith in the voters, the citizen voters of California, but the distortion of mail-in ballots from people who showed no ID to get them, show no ID to vote, that system shouldn't work in any democracy. It doesn't work in most states, but in California, it's the norm. And it's one of the reasons we have these huge swings. that have favored the Democrats who set up those rules. And those rules are terrible. No democracy should have a rule that anyone votes as many times as they want.
Yes. Well, we're saying a prayer for you in church, Congressman, because Katie Porter might be your next governor, and that like sends a chill down our spine. We've seen enough. So Godspeed with that.
Godspeed, Benny.
Yeah. Ooh, baby. All right. I don't know how you served with her in a delegation, man. I just hope you ducked when the scalding potatoes came your way. Congressman Darrell Issa right here. Follow him. He's got hundreds of thousands of subscribers. God bless you, Congressman. Baby, ladies and gentlemen, we got some something that changed our lives. We went to a restaurant in California. Speaking of California, Calico Fish House. It was run by our dear friend Chef Gruel, and we had masa chips with our meal at that fish house. First off, it was one of the best meals I've ever had in my life. It's in Huntington Beach. This is just a massive shout out for my friend Chef Gruel. But then we also, like, when he served us with masa. This was my first time having masa chips. Like, these are unbelievable. Like, these are great. I texted my wife about them, and she did some research, and the reason why they're great is because they don't use hideous seed oils that are literally just like a petroleum product. It's like literal oil that belongs in a vehicle, not in your mouth, and it's bad for you. These are the way that chips used to be made. Corn, salt, beef tallow. And that's why they tasted so dang good. I said, we got to call them up. And they shipped some to our house. And my kids love them. And they're the only chip in the Johnson household. Masa chips are good for you. They make you feel great. They're full of flavor. There's a bunch of different flavors. My favorite is probably the spicy flavor if I'm eating dinner, or the churro flavor afterwards. They have like a dessert flavor. It's awesome. Give them a try. You can find them at a Sprouts Market. If you have a Sprouts Market near you, I do. Most people do. They're available on the shelf. But you could also go to masachips.com/Benny and order today. Get 25% off your first order. Use the code Benny. 25% off masachips.com/Benny. Code Benny for 25% off your first order, or at Sprouts Market. Masa chips, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, somebody who always is playing the right chips, we could just say, is the great Matt Schlapp, who joins us live right now. Matt Schlapp obviously runs CPAC and is just kind of a legend in these circles. He's the chairman of the American Conservative Union, and he always brings a bit of wisdom. Here we go. Matt, what's going on? What's going on, man? How you doing?
Legend. You know what that really means, Benny? It means really old.
You're not as old as Nancy Pelosi, dude. Okay, so
I don't have dentures. I'm doing.
You can
okay.
still snap the crown. Did you see that video? She couldn't snap the crown. Okay.
Pathetic. Know when to hang up your cleats. You know, this is true for all of us. Have you noticed the Democrats used to be the party of youth? They're now the party of the oldest, decrepit politicians you ever saw in your life. And you know, as Donald Trump has demonstrated, if you're old and you still got it, God bless you. Keep going. But if you don't, why don't you go sit in the lounge chair?
Why don't you explain this? Because there was a remarkable amount of energy. So CPAC in February, you were kind enough to invite us to speak. And it was my first time on a CPAC stage in a while. And there was vibrancy, energy, cheering, young people.
Yeah.
It was dynamic.
Yeah.
Now, I was nothing, a small shadow of the roaring flame of Elon Musk with his giant golden chainsaw. Please, ALX, can you grab that footage? That was some of the most legendary footage of all time. I don't think we realized what a golden era we were living through. But it was awesome. Elon Musk with his giant bling and his sunglasses and his chainsaw. Man, there was just a lot of energy. And you've seen movements come and go, dude, you know? And you've been sort of at the center of the center. What's different now? Why has Democrat Party become the party of the old and sad and dusty? And why are there so much vibrancy in the Republican Party?
Yeah, and you know, the thing that's interesting is we do these CPACs in something like 12 countries over 5 continents. I say the only continent we don't go to is the one with the penguins. But the fact is the left doesn't have this. They have versions of CPAC, but they don't have anything like it. And it's not just CPAC. There's other groups doing great work too overseas. But conservatives, maybe we're more organized. Maybe we're not. We don't sleep in every morning like the left does. We get up early. We get right to it. My wife and I, we kind of work all the time. We view it as a mission. And I think that's one of the big differences between the right and the left. You see at this No Kings protest, you see at the BLM protest before it, you see it at the Occupy protest before that. I swear it's the same people, just with different T-shirts. But one of the reasons why I think they've had a leg up on us is that they don't have a church. They usually don't have families. Like, politics is everything they do. And so for conservatives, we shouldn't be ashamed to admit that saving America, saving freedom is a mission. It's a God-oriented, God-ordained mission.
Yes.
And if we think of it that way, maybe it won't become our fourth or fifth priority. I understand your faith comes first, your country comes second, or your family comes second, your country comes after. But part of being patriotic is saving this country from these horrible people.
I've been just howling watching this footage of Elon Musk and the chainsaw. And it's been playing. I don't know if you have a confidence monitor, if you can see it, but it's just unbelievable. It's just remarkable what we've lived through. Javier Milei handing a golden chainsaw to Elon Musk, and Elon Musk letting it rip roar up at the ceiling of CPAC.
And
the left has nothing like this. The left has Nancy Pelosi can't snap a 10-cent crown made in Shanghai, made in Beijing, some factory somewhere that she outsourced an American job to. And here's Elon Musk with a golden chainsaw on stage at CPAC. Do you have the still image? Show the still. This is beautiful. This should be the background on my phone. Look, that's amazing. That's amazing. That's real. That happened at CPAC.
It happened, Benny, and you know this, but we do a lot of planning and organizing. But the best moments, truly the best moments, the Trumpian moments, this moment with the chainsaw, they're a little more spontaneous. Yeah, there was planning behind it, and I give my staff great kudos for working with the local authorities. Can you imagine in the state of Maryland getting an operating chainsaw on the stage in a major hotel? I mean, this was I know the Middle East peace talks are tough, but this was pretty tough. And, I was standing backstage, and I was just in awe. And it's, I have these moments in my life where I just sit back and I've learned, because I'm getting to 60 here close. I'm 57. And, I just thank God at these moments. So I'm like, God, only you can do this. I can't do this. We try to do amazing things, but at the end, the best moments of CPAC have happened because regular people, now Elon Musk and Javier Milei aren't that regular, okay, but whatever. But regular people standing up and doing just amazing things. And it's really, this is our moment in humanity, in civilization, in the fight for civilization, where every day you can look at these videos and headlines and get awfully depressed. But every day I look at something and I say, wow, what a brave person. Matter of fact, when I pray more than anything else, I pray for courage. I think it's what we're going to need more than anything else going forward. Bravery, courage, men acting like men, moms acting like brave moms. This is what we need. Our kids need to be a warrior generation. You got to raise your kids to be tough and to be able to withstand it. And anyway, I look at these two guys, Elon Musk and Javier Milei, and there's about 10 other people in the world, and they're literally taking the steps. Can you imagine if Elon Musk hadn't bought X? Can you imagine if Donald Trump hadn't been resurrected in 2024? It's just a handful of people that are giving us hope.
There is so much, though, that ties us and separates us from the left as a movement. And I think that chasm is becoming really shocking when you look at the faith. You mentioned God a number of times, and it's been very quasi-revival, the feeling of the country since Charlie's assassination.
Yes.
There's been an energy that has now sort of captivated people. And, you're seeing it everywhere, from small campaign events to, large conferences.
Yes.
And it really is remarkable. And if you go down just one layer in the data, you'll find that 93% of Republicans still believe in God.
Yes.
And that barely a majority of Democrats believe in God. It's at 60% according to Gallup.
Yeah.
But I wonder if it's even that high. And you can really boil it all down to that, Matt. I mean, can you? Can you not?
Yes. Look, you can look at Patrick Deneen has talked about this great professor from the University of Notre Dame, where I just returned from to bring my daughter home. And they had that was an amazing football game. As an aside, just an aside. But you can track patriotism, for instance. You can track the importance of money in your life. You know, people who tend to vote Republican, people who have conservative values, know that money's important, but it's not the primary motivator to them in their life. You know, we have a lot of idols and false gods in this society that is, you know, glorified on in movies and TV, et cetera. And you know, if you go back to those basic questions, you know, the golden rule, telling the truth, you know, having patriotism in your country, respecting authority,
starting families. You have
starting
a million kids.
families. You know,
you got millions of kids. Yeah, I don't think. Do you have 4 kids or 5?
5 girls.
Ah, dude, man, I gotta get to 5.
5 girls. Yeah, you know, I got married at 34. You know, when I was at that period of time, guys in politics were told getting married was like, you know, it was a ball and chain. Like, don't do that. What are you doing? Put that off. Put that off. Yeah. And Mercy and I fell in love working at the White House, and September 11th kind of woke me up. And I thought, you know, how many decades do I have to wake up and do the most beautiful thing I could ever do, which was to start a family? And I do think Charlie's legacy, your legacy, there's a lot of young people in politics today that are saying, why put off the most beautiful thing you can do? Do it now. And it's funny with my kids, because I'm assuming that like maybe I'm not that much older, and they're getting a lot of pressure to, like, you know, they're young, smart women, have great careers and have kids later. But so far anyway, my kids seem to have exactly the opposite view, which is, why would I wait? Why would I not just go ahead? Now, no one's married yet. No one's pregnant yet. So I'm not going to be a big talker here, but it's interesting to talk to kids that come to CPAC and stuff. And, you know, it's kind of revolutionary to be traditional. Traditional isn't the right word. The counter thing to do is to do what you've done, what Charlie's done, what so many other people have done, which is just get on about loving your country, fighting for it, finding the person you love, starting a family, being a good mom and dad. And I think it's fantastic. This whole kind of trad calf movement, I'm a Catholic, is really, it's breathtaking. You know, Benny, it's wrong when people say the churches are dying and they're empty. It is wrong. The revival, yes, Charlie's assassination is a dreadful tragedy that has a you know, kind of a silver lining, which is it woke up a lot of kids to the fact that it's time to get going. But when I go all over this world, these churches are much more full than people realize. When we go to mass during the day, they're much more full than people realize. The American people, freedom lovers all over the world, they're waking up to the idea that communism just destroys the human spirit.
Well, I'm pulling up a bit of data for you from Gallup based on what you're talking about, because you have daughters who are under the age of 30. This was a poll that was done for 29 and under. And it is what I personally believe to be the high water mark of Charlie's career. And it shows that Trump voters, males, listed fatherhood and creating families as their number one priority in life.
Yeah.
And Trump voters, female, it was number 6, but that's out of 13. But for Kamala voters, for men, male Kamala voters, which are practically women anyway, it was number 12. And then for Kamala voting women, it was number 30. It was dead last, family creation.
You know,
here's the poll. It's on screen. I want to just talk through like the cultural ramifications of this, because this is a self-destroying ideology. This is a self-defeating ideology. They're not going to exist in a generation at this rate with these priorities. And that's why, like, if you can't procreate, I guess you must indoctrinate. That's their only hope. And it kind of explains everything, doesn't it, Matt?
You know, we get down to these policies. So, you know, people say, well, keep your morality out of politics. Let's just get the policy right. But we're to a point where you can't. They're all interwoven. So what was the whole climate change, net zero thing all about? At the end, you know, it was all about people. They wanted to make people and the creation of new people the cause for climate change, which they taught to kids from the time they were like in diapers that, you know, if you have kids, you're destroying the planet. So it was the humane thing. It was the decent and virtuous thing to do, to like not have kids. And that's been a part of the whole abortion mentality, the contraception mentality, this idea that people are bad and people are like locusts and they destroy the earth. It's been so indoctrinated in our kids. Now, the science of climate change is now so undeniable. As Spain announces that they have 100% renewable grid, and then immediately they celebrate it by it breaking and going down and people dying at hospitals, and them showing the whole world that renewable energy is expensive and unreliable and dangerous. And then that makes people realize, like, well, maybe I'm being lied to about this idea that kids are bad. Maybe kids are good. And then you realize everybody who has a declining growth rate, population rate, has massive economic problems, including problems with all the paying for all their pensions and social services. So the science and math of economics, of energy, it all gets wrapped back into this moral question. And really, we are not the moralizers. We think truth is, there's something moral about standing up for truth. They are the moralizers, right? But they're immoralizers. They are lying to our kids about all of these basic questions. And so now you have the young man who's had to realize that what he's been told for 18 years or whatever, even maybe by his parents, they are lies. And so, see, I view this Gallup number as wonderfully hopeful, which is despite all the propaganda which communists always use and all the, over-resourcing on the far leftist side, that you can't put a good man down. You can't cut Americans off from their idea that they love their country. They're not going to win this battle. Now, they've done tremendous damage to millions of people in America and all over the globe, and we can't deny that. But we're in the battle right now. Today starts afresh, right? What are you going to do to stand up for these values? And I think what a lot of young men in America, anyway, are saying is that, hey, I'm going to be a man. Yes. I'm going to live the ideals that were instilled in my creation. And part of that is I like the idea of having someone take my name after me. And I want to pass the idea of how do you do an oil change, and how do you fold the flag, and how do you help an older woman across the street. I want to pass these values on to the next generation. And we came dangerously close to the idea that those ideas of passing on these ideas had to be done by a teacher and not by a parent. I think finally we've won that battle.
It's center-right nation. Trump won 90% of all counties, 7 swing states, the popular vote. Like, we're in control of culture. We should act like it. We're in control of
Can I tell you something there, Benny? I don't want to cut you off, but this is really important to me because the one benefit I get as the old guy is that I've been doing like presidential politics, right? Ever since, even in college and right after college. So I've done this a very long time. And what you just said shows that the Trump victory wasn't a narrow victory. It was an overwhelming victory. And how do we know that? We know that because election laws uniquely in America are set up at the state level. And because the Democratic Party became communist, socialist, Marxist, they changed all these state laws and made it very easy to cheat, as we know. And so if you take even 1988 or 1984, when Republicans had landslide victories, right, in the popular vote and the electoral vote, if you had those same state laws today, Donald Trump would have had a massive landslide victory in every conceivable way. The only reason why it looks tighter in some of these numbers, like the popular vote, is because they had to jimmy rig all these state laws to make it almost impossible for a Republican to compete. So what we have to stop doing is thinking we're niche, thinking we're minority, thinking we have to whisper, thinking that it was just like we were lucky to win.
Yes.
We are an overwhelming majority and we should act like it.
Yes. Preach, Slap.
Preach.
Yes. I'm like, I'm so sick of like the cuck energy. I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick.
Yes.
I'm so sick of the weakling energy.
Stop it.
Like, yeah, like exactly. Like ever falling for every single psyop. Like, and it's our job to stiffen the spine and just be like, listen, we're in charge. Act like it. Like, again, we're not reflected in media or in entertainment or in Hollywood. I know you and I were just hanging out at CPAC in California, and that happened to be in Beverly Hills. And it's like, obviously we're not reflected in these cultures, but did these cultures even matter anymore? Bro, like I was blackpilled on Beverly Hills. I couldn't believe it. Like every third store was out of business. Like people were selling their houses.
So sad.
Like there were bums everywhere. Like I was like, whoa, what's going on
Benny,
here?
you know what? That's only an American phenomenon. I want you to know this. Like when we do these CPACs overseas, and all these continents and all these great cities, and I know London and Paris has its own problems, but we're the only country whose largest cities are as gross and dysfunctional and dirty and drug-ridden and crime-ridden. It's an American problem. Aren't we better than this? Can't we solve these problems? When I look at Donald Trump and he's trying to solve these problems in these cities, I wonder, What is wrong with the people who live there? What is wrong with who these people are voting for? I know in my own neighborhood in Northern Virginia, they vote for these crazy people that have crazy policies. And then my neighbors will sometimes come to me and say, you got to help me solve this. The city council wants to do this crazy thing. And you know what I say, Benny? You voted for him. You fix it. And thank God Donald Trump has a much better attitude than I do.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, so if you want part of that winning attitude, here is the CPAC website. CPAC website will show you all of the many events that CPAC will be doing. I think we'll be together at an event soon, Matt, at Mar-a-Lago. I think that'll be fun.
That'll be fun.
And more to come. Can you preview what's next for CPAC?
Yeah, so we're going to have, we do all kinds of things that people might not realize, but we're going to have an event on the Hill on October 30th, highlighting Christian persecution. Our view of Christian persecution is it's like an uncovered story. And I just put a tweet out about, 8,000 Christians being slaughtered in Nigeria. And so everyone's welcome to come join us on the Hill there. We think anti-Semitism and Christian persecution kind of go hand in glove because mostly it's extreme Islamic regimes that are killing these people, but also it's happening in China and Korea, and religious persecution, sadly, is on the rise. So there's all kinds of ways you can get involved. We're very involved in this Virginia governor's race. My wife, Mercy, has a big Latino event coming up right before the election. So if you live in the Commonwealth of Virginia, come help us bring home the W. We can't let this AG candidate and the rest of these whack jobs destroy our Commonwealth. And as you said, we'll have our big CPAC event in March in Dallas, in Grapevine. Everyone's welcome. Tickets are cheap. Let's go save our country.
Oh, I'm so glad it's in Dallas, bro. I'm so sick of Maryland. I know you probably have to do the political thing, but like,
no.
Oh man, in Dallas, they'll put you in jail if you don't have a functional chainsaw on the stage.
That's right.
Right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's totally different. Like, where are the flamethrowers? If there's no flamethrowers, then you're not allowed to come to Dallas, actually.
That's right.
That's great. Yeah.
And boots. You can wear your cowboy boots with your tuxedo and everyone thinks that's normal.
My man. Matt Schlapp is right here on X. He's got over 500,000 subscribers. You should be one of them. He's one of those people that just fights for us. And he does so on an organization and a structural basis. And it's really good to have that. It's really good to have a good fighter in your corner. That's Matt Schlapp. Thank you, bro.
Thanks for your friendship, Benny, and thanks for all your great work and for your courage, especially over the last several weeks. It's been admirable and really inspiring.
You know what? I just want to defend my friend.
Yeah.
That's it. I just want to defend my friend. I'm sick of seeing public school teachers celebrate his death. And so, that's going to be a lifelong mission, Matt. And I look forward to defeating these people with you. Okay?
You're equal to the task.
Godspeed, bro.
All right. Take it easy.
See ya. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump just welcomed the Prime Minister of Australia. Prime Minister of Australia, Anthony Albanese, into the White House. We popped it up live. You never know what Trump's going to do with these things. Looks like they just posed for a photo. Trump pointed at the cameras like, take this photo of us. But what's going to happen next is that Donald Trump's going to do a live Oval Office, scorched earth, rip roar with the Prime Minister of Australia. So, we're going to cover that one live, baby. And it's going to be coming to us hot, quick, and in a hurry, ladies and gentlemen, just like, my Blackout coffee every single morning. Blackout coffee powers the show. Blackout coffee, I drink it hot, out of the pot, every single morning. I don't know what else to tell you, man. These people have these fancy coffees. My wife sometimes she wants me to have extra protein. So she puts extra protein in my coffee. That would be the only thing I would ever add to my coffee. I think a lot of people are doing that now these days. Gonna up the protein in this country. But that's it. I drink my coffee black, and I drink it hot out of the pot. I got like a $5 pot that I got at Walmart, and that's how I make my coffee. All these people, these fancy coffee makers. Anyway, the point is that that's how I started drinking coffee. It's how I'm going to die drinking coffee. And, that's it. So if you don't have good coffee, then it's just going to taste like garbage. That's like the purest way to drink coffee. Other brands like to pump a bunch of garbage into their coffee so you can't actually taste the coffee beans. Blackout Coffee does not do this, ladies and gentlemen. And they're a 64,000 foot facility here. They do small batch, small roast coffees. made here for Americans. And for the strength of this country and for people that want to actually build it, ladies and gentlemen, drink real coffee. Blackout Coffee. Believes in hard work and American values. Use code Benny at 20% off your first order. Support the American dream and drink Blackout. That's blackoutcoffee.com/Benny. Stop settling and start drinking real coffee. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Trump calls Jay Jones an animal and says that anybody should be put in prison for what he says. You know, we just came off the top of the dome with these the No Kings, violent No Kings protests. And, you know, you don't need any further explanation after Charlie and Trump were both shot in the head by leftists. But nonetheless, a dude who is running for the top law enforcement official in the state of Virginia, where Matt Schlapp lives, actually, says he wants to kill Republicans and their children. And this is the first time that President Trump has commented on this, as far as I know, on camera. But the guy's name is Jay Jones. Trump strongly condemned Virginia Democrat Attorney General nominee Jay Jones as an animal on Sunday, saying that anybody who would find themselves in prison for his text messages. Well, I know that as a matter of fact. Do you know the dude that threatened to kill my family was indicted over the weekend on 2 counts? This individual was indicted, and we have the paperwork and everything. I guess we should grab it and pop it up. Here's President Trump's comments on Jay Jones.
Jay Jones has repeatedly said that if he wins in Virginia, that he can't. Jay Jones in Virginia has said.
Jay Jones, you mean the one that wanted to kill somebody's children and kill somebody? You mean the animal that wanted to kill somebody?
Yeah,
who should not be allowed to be running for that office?
Yeah, he said he can't wait to see you in court. I'm wondering if you have a response and if you're considering getting involved in that race.
Well, what is he saying?
He said in the debate on Thursday night that he can't wait to sue your administration and see you in court.
No, he's a third-rate intellect. He's a guy who I've never seen anybody say what he said, that he wanted to kill his opponent's children, he wanted to kill his opponent. No, I can't imagine anybody voting for Jay Jones. Look, you would think he's totally discredited. I would think he wouldn't even be allowed to do that. Anybody would be put in prison for what he said. So he can join a long list of attorney generals that have been suing and losing. But the people of this country want law, they want order, they want safety. They don't want to be mugged or raped or shot. And that's what we provide. We have tremendous numbers also. You see the crime numbers are coming way down, way down.
Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. The indictment. George Russell Isabel Jr. is the man who threatened to kill my family. And he was indicted on mailing threatening communications and interstate threat to injure. So there it is. He's going to be tried in the Middle District of Florida. Not a great place to be attacking Floridians and their families, let me tell you. Not a pleasant district for left-wing terrorists. I don't get it, man. I don't get these. I don't get these people. I'll show it to you again. Give me that old dude with the 8647 sweater. Like, they're proud of themselves. I don't know how else to tell you. They're proud of themselves. Listen to this guy.
The colors. Kill the son of a bitch.
Kill who?
This 47th president.
They just tell you who they are. Like, when somebody tells you who they are, believe them.
Glad we got that on camera. You know that.
So when somebody tells you who they are, believe them. This dude's like, just kill Trump. That's what he's like saying on camera. That's crazy. That's what these people said. Like, you just like, this is incitement. You're not allowed to do this. So you just gotta believe these people when they tell you who they are. It's horribly violent. I feel like our next partner is someone who, maybe a product that could be used by some of these No Kings protesters. It is a fascinating thing to watch this older generation so rapidly swing left, and it does need to be studied. And I'd like for there to be more studying of it. But nonetheless, every person in my neighborhood that's of that demographic, the boomer demographic, they're extremely right wing. They're like the biggest Trump supporters that you've ever met. And so, anyway, I'm not trying to crash out on those people. And for those people, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you about Chapter. Medicare's annual enrollment period is here. It's a very big deal. Every single year, millions of American seniors, 64 and older, face the same challenge as choosing the correct Medicare plan. It can be overwhelming. Brokers certainly do take advantage of you. Ensure that you get trustworthy advice with Chapter. They'll help look for the correct plan for you nationwide and make sure that you're picking the right one that truly fits your needs. On average, Chapter will save you $1,000 a year or more. And this isn't like the most fun thing to do, obviously. My wife hates it when she has to run medical bills and so on. But nonetheless, Chapter makes it easy for you. They review the plans with you. It takes under 20 minutes, and they'll find the one that's best for you in 2026. So speak to a trusted Chapter advisor today by dialing pound 250 and say this keyword savings to take control of your healthcare. That's pound 250, keyword savings, to speak to someone at Chapter today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, someone who certainly could be one of the No Kings protesters wandering the street out of his nursing home is actor Robert De Niro, who had an F-bomb, who went on MSNBC and started raging with like a profane F-bomb rant. Okay, like, does anyone really care? I don't really care. I don't know. Is the clip long? Let's play it. Why not? Why not? We're waiting for Trump live press conference, and we also have a spectacular next guest that I'd love to get responding to this clip. Savannah Chrisley will join us in just a moment. Robert De Niro deciding he's gonna shock the hosts on MSNBC with an F-bomb. Here we go.
I like what Letitia James is doing. She's fighting back. She's saying, "F you." I'm sorry. This is where we are. She's saying this is it. I will not be taken down by this person. I am not afraid of him, and God bless her for that. Mm-hmm. And that's how other people have to be. I saw a thing about ICE going in and getting some lady, a black woman, who was saying, she was really on. I was on the news. I was watching it yesterday. Somebody sent it to me. And she laid it in. And those guys, those ICE guys, they knew that she was right. And they better not mess with her. And that's what you need, people who are saying, I've had enough of this. And we've all had enough. It's right in front of us. People have to stand up, do it nicely, peacefully, and all that. You don't want to give him an excuse to do what we all say he would want to do and call it the Insurrection Act and all that. So,
all right, ladies and gentlemen, it's kind of sad to watch. Extremely sad. You remember when Robert De Niro was out trying to like give speeches in the streets of New York and got just completely trolled by like right-wing influencers? Okay, let's bring on a right-wing influencer. Let's bring on Savannah Chrisley, who's joining our program, I think live from Nashville. Let's find out. I have some questions about some Nashville schools, Charlie Kirk and Turning Point. Let's rock and roll. Savannah, welcome to the program. I don't know, are you in Nashville or no?
I am.
Okay,
I'm in Nashville.
Great. Okay. Fantastic. ALX, load me up on some of these Turning Point, some of these chapters, some of these Turning Point chapters now. What the hell's going on with Nashville? Like, I thought Tennessee was like a red state and would be like solid, but there's some there's some cuckoo headlines that have been popping up in like some Nashville schools. They refuse to they expelled students for dressing like Charlie Kirk and wanting to venerate Charlie and honor him. It's been really goofy. Lipscomb Academy. I don't know. Are you familiar with this place?
Yes. So my little sister goes to Lipscomb Academy.
No way.
Yes. And so the students, they were not expelled. They were just asked to take off the ties to honor Charlie. And the school is being ran by these left-wing lunatics who are coming in, trying to implement DEI, yelling LGBTQ and trans aren't evil. That was yelled in a Bible classroom. And this is a centuries-old Church of Christ school.
So what happens next?
Well, we have been very vocal about our concerns when it comes to this school. There are celebrities, kids who go there, Sheryl Crow, and Sheryl Crow referred to Charlie Kirk as a racist on a phone call with me and continued to tell me that I needed to take my little sister elsewhere if I didn't like what was being taught at the school. So we have been in contact with the heirs of David Lipscomb because he has stated in the deed that if the school is not ran how he intended it to run, then it needs to be handed back to his rightful heirs. So I think they would be they're happy to know that the school is falling apart because this could be millions and millions of dollars in their pocket.
Wait a second. So the school could actually be like taken away from the people who, I don't know who runs it right now.
Yes.
So it's private. So you'd assume like a hedge fund or something.
Yeah. So it could actually be taken from them and given back to the rightful heirs of David Lipscomb because they are not running as a Church of Christ school. And something I think is very interesting that a lot of people don't know is that Lipscomb Academy is actually part of Lipscomb University. And Lipscomb University received $4.8 million worth of federal funding in 2023 alone. So if Linda McMahon's office were to look into this, they would see that on their website, they've got books and teaching professors how to be an anti-racist, how white supremacy still exists. There is the pride flag that is hanging on the Bible class doors. So when you're receiving federal funding, this can't be happening.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane, and there are tons of family members at that school that are just devastated at the fact that this is happening. You have the head of the school that wrote his dissertation in college on implementing DEI in Southern Christian private schools. So it's very alarming that this is where this school is headed, and kids are, unfortunately, they didn't get the opportunity to mourn Charlie Kirk. During George Floyd and Black Lives Matter, the school sent out emails on, we feel so bad that your student had to witness the death of George Floyd. Here are resources for them. And they did not offer that for Charlie. Instead, a month later, they had an event to honor him, and it only lasted 23 minutes.
That's awful. Maybe you could just, and I know the president is going to be live here with a press conference in just a moment. So, Savannah, I apologize. We're going to move over to the president, but what the hell is going on in Tennessee? Are you going to run for office? Like, are you going to run to try and fix this? Why is there all these woke headlines out of Tennessee? I thought this was like a solid red state.
Yeah, unfortunately, Nashville as a whole is as blue as it gets. So if I could disrupt it, I most certainly would. Marsha Blackburn is obviously going to run for governor, and she will win, and that means her Senate seat will be up. So who knows what could happen?
Oh, you're going to run for Senate?
Hey, never say never.
Okay, cool. That'd be a fun story. That'd be very interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, great. We love the state of Tennessee, and we're not a hater. We just like are so sick of seeing porn in the schools and seeing like some of the goofiness.
Yes, even at Lipscomb Academy. In the high school summer reading, there's a poem titled Fingers, and it's about a 13-year-old girl fingering herself at a private Church of Christ Christian school.
Yeah, okay. Well, Satan doesn't attack people that are already in hell. He attacks the church, right?
Amen.
So this is obviously where they would be directing all of their demonic rage and anger. And it's nice to fight back with power, truth, light. And we hope that, I don't know, I think that'd be interesting. Okay, cool. Run for Senate. All right, very interesting times. We love to see it. We love the energy. Everybody follow Savannah Chrisley. We are going to cut over to President Trump doing a live press conference right now. But you can follow her right here. She got 331,000 followers on X. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, the feed is still getting set here. It looks like we finally have a stable shot. ALX said like a camera fell over and like smashed into a mirror or something. So here's President Trump finally set and live. Prime Minister of Australia.
Lots of other things. And we've had a very good relationship. We've been working on that for quite a while. In about a year from now, we'll have so much critical mineral and rare earths that you won't know what to do with them. They'll be worth about $2. But in the meantime, we're working with Australia and other countries. They're working with us too, but other countries also on that. But we're really working on anything having to do with military protection, military ships, vehicles, guns, ammunition, everything, the whole thing. We've been long-time allies, and I would say there's never been anybody better. We fought wars together. We never had any doubts, and it's
the improved Oval Office, and for what you're doing around here as well, and for the great honour as well of my delegation saying just across the road we could have walked, but they didn't let us. We drove all of 20 metres there from Blair House, but it's a great honour to be able to stay there. We are great friends and we're great allies, and this is a relationship that's been forged in the battlefields of the world. We have stood side by side for freedom and democracy, and congratulations, I must say, Mr. President, on the work that you've done with the Middle East. It's an extraordinary achievement. And on defence, we've already had a discussion about taking it to the next level. Our defence and security partnership with AUKUS is so important for us, and I thank you for the support that the administration are giving as well. You've had the Chief of the Navy here as well, which will play obviously a very critical role with the subs and increasing the security for the region and the world. And our economic relationship is so important. The US has a trade surplus with Australia, as you know, and we can continue to take what is every opportunity to improve the relationship even further and make it even stronger. And today's agreement on critical minerals and rare earths is just taking it to the next level, seizing those opportunities which are before us to take our relationship to that next level. And it's been fantastic, the contact that we've had together, the friendship that we've developed. And Australians love America, and I think Americans kind of like Australia too.
Sure, we do.
And as we go forward, I think that today will be seen as a really significant day in our relationship. So I thank you very much, Mr. President.
Well, thank you very much, Anthony. It's an honor to sign this, and we'll do it now. And then we'll take some questions. Some good ones, I think. Okay.
Well, this is a $8.5 billion pipeline that we have ready to go.
That's right. It's all ready to go.
Just getting started.
And we're doing a real job on rare earth and many other things. Perhaps I could ask John to say a few words, and then we'll exchange papers. But just how are we doing on your naval purchases and all of the submarines that we're working on with Australia? How's that going?
Thank you, Mr. President. Obviously, Australia is a very important ally of ours in the Indo-Pacific and in every battle. They fought with us since World War I and have always been side by side. The facility that they're building, Surf West, is critical and very important to our ability to project power in the Indo-Pacific and work with our allies. So we're working very closely. I think what we're really trying to do is take the original AUKUS framework and improve it for all three parties and make it better and clarify some of the ambiguity that was in the prior agreement. So it should be a win-win for everybody, sir.
And the submarines that we're building for Australia are starting to really move along, right? The process is getting very exciting, isn't it?
We're getting better.
That's good. Very good.
It's going to be great.
Thank you very much. Maybe we'll hold this up. Okay.
Here we go.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President.
The AUKUS submarine tactic, the AUKUS defence tactic the Prime Minister just mentioned, it is a critical issue for Australia.
Yes.
You haven't really spoken much about it publicly. It was a deal that was done under Joe Biden to sell submarines to Australia at a time when you're not really making enough for your own needs. So can you tell us, have you gotten across the details of the deal? Do you support it, and will you honour it?
It was made a while ago
and nobody did anything about it, and it was going too slowly. We do actually have a lot of submarines. We have the best submarines in the world, anywhere in the world, and we're building a few more currently under construction. And now we're starting, we have it all set. With Anthony, we've worked on this long and hard, and we're starting that process right now, and I think it's really moving along very rapidly, very well.
If the rate of submarine production doesn't continue, how can you guarantee Australia will get the boats?
Oh, it's getting, oh no, they're getting.
At least 32 people have been killed in those.
Excuse me, you're next. Go ahead.
China's bad behavior has really only gotten worse since the AUKUS partnership was formed. With that in mind, is the door open for Australia to get additional nuclear-powered submarines or other military capabilities not already in the deal?
I think China's been very respectful of us. They're paying tremendous amounts of money to us as in the form of tariffs. As you know, they're paying 55%. That's a lot of money. They never were paying anything over years and years and years. But they were like anybody else. A lot of countries took advantage of the U.S. They're not taking advantage anymore. No, China's paying 55% and a potential 155% come November 1st unless we make a deal. And I'm meeting with President Xi. We have a very good relationship. We're going to be meeting in South Korea in a couple of weeks. And we'll see what we can do. We have a very good relationship with China, but you know, it's been probably a little bit like your relationship with China. They try and take advantage, but most countries do. I mean, I can say the European Union took advantage, but not anymore. We worked out a very fair trade deal. Japan, we worked out a very fair deal. South Korea, where I'll be meeting President Xi, we worked out a very fair deal. And I expect we'll probably work out a very fair deal with President Xi of China. So most of you will be with us. It's going to be very exciting. And I think we're going to work out something that's good for both countries.
Are you at least interested in expediting the nuclear-powered subs to Australia?
Well, we are doing that, yeah. We're doing that. we have them moving very, very quickly.
Mr. President, I don't think you've ever been to Australia. Have you thought about coming to Australia and trying out some of the golf courses?
I would, and I actually have been to Australia, and I did play one of your great golf courses. They have great golf courses there. But I have been to Australia, actually.
Would you come again?
Oh, I would. In fact, I've been invited to go, and
Indeed.
I'll have to give it serious consideration. No, it's a real possibility.
Did the Prime Minister invite you today?
He did.
And perhaps we could time it, must be said, with the President's Cup that Australia hosts as well.
When is the President's Cup?
We'll organise it at a time suitable for you, Mr. President.
Please, in the back, please. Yeah, in the back.
Yeah, Mr. President, the Prime Minister mentioned that there's a trade imbalance that's very heavily in America's favour. Why does America slap such heavy tariffs on a friend and ally?
Well, we don't, yeah. Well, we do in some cases. We do in many cases because we've been treated unfairly. But actually, the tariffs are very light. The one thing is you buy a lot of airplanes, so that helps because you buy a lot of the beautiful Boeings, the best of the Boeings. Boeing, and by the way, Boeing is really doing well. They have lots of orders, and they're really doing a great job. They make a great plane. But Australia, because of its location, which is great, but one of the things dictated by that location is you have to order a lot of airplanes. So I guess we have that advantage. They need a lot of airplanes in Australia, and that gives us a little bit of an advantage.
Mr. President, yeah, your Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, in his Shangri-La speech in, I think it was May, warned about the potential likelihood or threat of President Xi ordering an invasion of Taiwan. 2027 is also the year that Fleet Base West is supposed to start rotating those US and UK submarines. Do you see AUKUS as a deterrent for China in the Indo-Pacific?
Yeah, I do. I think it is, but I don't think we're going to need it. I think we'll be just fine with China. China doesn't want to do that. First of all, the United States is the strongest military power in the world by far. It's not even close. Not even close. We have the best equipment. We have the best of everything, and nobody's going to mess with that. And I don't see that at all with President Xi. I think we're going to get along very well as it pertains to Taiwan and others. Now, that doesn't mean it's not the apple of his eye, because probably it is. but I don't see anything happening. We have a very good trade relationship. We're going to have a very good, I think when we leave South Korea, it could be wrong, but I think we'll end up with a very strong trade deal. Both of us will be happy. No, I don't see that happening, no.
Given the trade surplus that the US enjoys with Australia, would you consider lifting the tariffs that you've imposed on Australia? And can you give us any details about the critical...
Yeah, well, the tariffs have been amazing because, tariffs have been really a reason that I was able to settle almost all of the, I've settled 8 wars in 8 months. Not bad. I have one more to go. It's Russia-Ukraine, and I think we'll get there, but it's turned out to be nasty because you have 2 leaders that truly hate each other, You can't have it all, right? They hate each other beyond all else, and it makes it actually a little bit difficult. But we try, of the 8 deals, I would say because of tariffs, 4 or 5 of them were settled. It's an amazing thing, the power of tariffs in terms of our country. But tariffs have always been used against us. We never use them against anywhere else. And now you have a president that for national security reasons and other reasons is using them. And we've become a very rich nation again and a very secure nation again. But we've also become a nation that used that power of tariffs and the power of trade to settle 5 of the 8 wars that I settled. I settled 8. I'm very proud of that. Nobody else has settled 1. I don't think there's been an American president that settled 1. I think there probably hasn't been outside of the 2 countries involved, or however many are at war. I don't think there's ever been an outside country that settled a war, period. So I settled 8 in 8 months. I'm proud of that. Now, in the meantime, I'm running a country that's right now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. We were dead. A year and a half ago, we were a dead country. Now we're the hottest country in the world, economically and otherwise. So. But I will say this, Australia pays very low tariffs, very, very low tariffs. In fact, Australia pays among the lowest tariffs. Please, go ahead.
Mr. President, there's been concern in Australia that it's taken 9 months to get this meeting. Have you had any concerns with this administration, with its stance on Palestine, climate change, or even things the ambassador said about you in the past, the Australian ambassador?
I don't know anything about him. I mean, if he said bad, then maybe he'll like to apologize. I really don't know. Did an ambassador say something bad about him? Don't tell me. I don't. Where is he? Is he still working for you?
Yeah.
You said bad?
Before I took this position, Mr. President.
I don't like you either. I don't, and I probably never will. Go ahead. No, you went. Go ahead. Behind you, President.
Mr. President, your Secretary of the Navy said there will be some clarifications around some ambiguities on AUKUS. Can you tell us?
Well, he'll get that taken care of. These are just minor details that he'll take care of. John, you're going to get that taken care of, right? There shouldn't be any more clarifications because we're just going now full steam ahead building. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Are you now satisfied with Australia's defence investment, or do you want Australia to invest more in defence?
Well, I'd always like more, but they have to do what they have to do. You can only do so much. I think they've been great. They're building magnificent holding pads for the submarines. It's going to be expensive, too. You wouldn't believe the level of complexity, right, and how expensive it is. They're building tremendous docking because they have a lot of ships and a lot of things happening. And I think their military has been very strong, very, very strong. Over here, please.
Mr. President, on the war that you haven't solved yet, the Ukraine-Russia situation, have you now locked in a meeting? And can you explain, just a few weeks ago at UNGA, you said that Ukraine could possibly win the war and
well, they could.
But now
they could still win it. I don't think they will, but they could still win it. I never said they would win it. I said they could win. Anything can happen. War is a very strange thing. A lot of bad things happen. A lot of good things happen. If you look at the Middle East, I would say prior to us hitting Iran so hard, we could have never made that deal because you would have had a dark cloud over the Middle East when we took out their nuclear capability, which was one of the great military maneuvers of all time. It was flawless. You saw that. Yeah. Those magnificent B-2s. I mean, that was a flawless move that was done by some very talented people, headed up by Pete and everybody else, and our great generals, and General in particular, Raisin Kane. We did a great job. And when that happened, everything was different, and we were able to get a deal. If we didn't do that, if it wasn't, they wanted to do that for 22 years, Mr. Prime Minister. For 22 years, I had the pilots here, the B-2 pilots, and they came to the Oval Office, and I thought they deserved it. They flew 37 hours back and forth. We had 52 tankers up there. We had a lot of planes up there with them, but they were the primary plane. But we had a lot of planes, F-22s and F-35s and F-6. We had a lot of planes. But we had 52 tankers. Can you believe that? And it was just like a flawless mission. And when it was finished, the Middle East just opened up. Amazing. And they've wanted to do it for 22 years. The pilots came up to me. They said, you know, for 22 years, we practiced this maneuver 3 times a year for 22 years, our predecessors and us. These are now young pilots, you know, but they're older now. Predecessors practiced it. And they said, we never had a president that would let us do it, but I let him do it. And it totally opened up the Middle East. It took the cloud over we had a dark cloud over the Middle East, and now it's all, I mean, we have a little situation relatively with Hamas, and that will be taken care of very quickly if they don't straighten it out themselves, because they're in violation of their agreement.
Thank you, Mr. President. On rare earth minerals, Australia is one of the only places in the world that processes rare earth minerals. Could there be an agreement? China has 90% of the processing. Could there be an agreement over processing rare earth minerals with Australia?
Sure, that's what we're doing. It's part of the agreement.
Part of the agreement.
Can you say with
Go ahead, please.
Thank you, sir. Just, sorry.
Yeah.
On a follow-up on Taiwan, there are reports that you will come up, or China is pressuring you to not support independence for Taiwan in exchange for a trade deal.
Well, I'm not going to talk about that. What I'll talk about, you and I will have that discussion in a couple of weeks when I'm in South Korea with President Xi. We're going to be talking about a lot of things. I assume that's going to be one of the things, but I'm not going to talk about that now. Yeah, please go ahead.
Mr. President, you just alluded to the violence in the Middle East. What steps is the administration taking to maintain the ceasefire?
Well, a lot of steps, and right now it's in the hands of others. You know, we have 59 countries that agreed to the deal. We have a peace in the Middle East for the first time ever. We made a deal with Hamas that, you know, they're going to be very good, they're going to behave, they're going to be nice, and if they're not, we're going to go and we're going to eradicate them if we have to. They'll be eradicated, and they know that. So they went in, and I don't believe it was the leadership, but they had some rebellion in there among themselves, and they killed some people, you know, a lot of people. But this is a violent group. You know, you probably noticed over the last 100 years, this is a very violent group of people. And they got very rambunctious, and they did things that they shouldn't be doing. And if they keep doing it, then we're going to go in and straighten it out, and it'll happen very quickly and pretty violently, unfortunately.
Just following up on that question, when you say we are going to eradicate Hamas, who is we? Does that include American boots on the ground?
No, it won't be on the ground at all. We don't need to, because we have many countries, as you know, signed on to this deal. The way I view it, 59 countries, and unanimous. There's never been, nobody ever believed it was countries that 4 months ago didn't like each other, and now they're all aligned together. I mean, we've had countries calling me when they saw some of the killing with Hamas, saying, we'd love to go in and take care of the situation ourselves. In addition, you have Israel would go in 2 minutes if I asked them to go in. I could tell them, go in and take care of it. But right now, we haven't said that. We're going to give it a little chance, and hopefully there will be a little less violence. But right now, you know, they're violent people. Hamas has been very violent. But they don't have the backing of Iran anymore. They don't have the backing of really anybody anymore. They have to be good. And if they're not good, they'll be eradicated.
Were any innocent civilians killed in the Caribbean, Mr. President?
Not you. Go on, please.
Could the Prime Minister weigh in more on the processing?
Yeah.
And can Australia expand the process of rare earths?
Absolutely we can, and we have the capacity to do so, and part of this deal is very specific, $8.5 billion pipeline. There'll be $1 billion contributed from Australia and the United States over the next 6 months with projects that are immediately available. There's 3 groups of projects, ones that are joint activities between Australia and the United States, such as Alcoa. Secondly is projects that will be US investment that the US will undertake in Australia, including processing, and then ones that Australia will undertake, some as well. One of them is Australia, the US and Japan as well. So what we're trying to do here is to take the opportunities which are there. Australia has had a view for some time, a bit similar to putting America first.
Right.
Our plan's called A Future Made in Australia, which is about not just digging things up and exporting them, but how do we make sure that we have across the supply chains with our friends being able to benefit, seize those opportunities. So we certainly see part of what this is about isn't just digging things up, it's also about processing, including the joint ventures between Australia and the United States.
Can the US and Australia really compete with China? Aren't we decades behind in terms of the development?
No. I mean, you've been reading the wrong newspapers. We're not decades. We are way ahead of China militarily, the United States. We're way ahead of them in every form of military, other than they're building a lot of ships, and we'll have that started. We'll be catching them on that.
When it comes to
But we will, when it comes to weaponry, when it comes to, I'll go, right now, AI. The big thing is AI. They're building more plants in this country than anybody ever imagined. We're going to have over $20 trillion of investment for this year. The most we ever had was a tiny fraction of that. As an example, Biden, who was, the worst president in the history of our country by far, by the way, but they were less than $1 trillion for 4 years. We're already now breaking $18 trillion of investment in 8 months. $18 trillion. No country in history has ever done that. We're way ahead of China in AI, and we're way ahead of China militarily from the standpoint of the sophisticated weapons. We have weapons that a lot of people don't even know about, and I got them started 4 years ago. I rebuilt the military 4 years ago, fortunately, because Biden didn't do anything but give a piece of it away to Afghanistan. Fortunately, as much as it sounded like it was a small part of what I built, but the Afghanistan giveaway was one of the worst. That was probably the most embarrassing day in the period in the history of our country. But we have the greatest military. We have the best equipment. We have the best manufacturers of equipment. We have the best weapons. When you look at our weapons, I've been talking a lot about our weapons. Everybody wants our weapons. But it's great to be working with Anthony. It's great to be working with the people of Australia, because they also, it's a smaller country, but you have done a fantastic job in weaponry and the kind of things that we do a lot of joint work together. Our militaries work very, very closely together. We've been really an amazing ally when you think of it, right? There's never been any games. We're strongly committed, and they're strongly committed. There are some games with other countries, but there haven't been games with Australia. Where do you come from?
I'm from Australia.
Who are you
The
with?
Sydney Morning Herald.
Nasty guy. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I was just going to ask a
All right,
question.
go ahead.
On your first term, you worked with two Australian Prime Ministers, Scott Morrison and Malcolm Turnbull. You might remember
Right.
they're from same side of politics as you. Mr. Albanese's different side. Can you tell us a bit more about what it's like to work with Mr. Albanese compared to those two?
Well, I got along. That wouldn't be fair, because, the man on my right has a big advantage. You know that, right? But I think he's doing a really good job, and we've had a very good relationship. I don't want to compare one with the other, but I'll tell you, this one is. They really have a great prime minister.
Thank you.
Okay, was that a good statement?
I'll use it in my ads in 28.
President Putin on Thursday, did you discuss his ongoing attacks on civilian areas in Ukraine?
Yeah.
Did you say cut it out? You say show
Yeah.
an article of good faith to me?
I did. But as you know, most of the people dying are soldiers. The soldiers that are dying in Russia and Ukraine, it's unbelievable. 5,000 to 7,000 a week. Can you believe it? And I look at that and I say it's pretty amazing. But in addition to that, there are attacks on Kiev and some of the other places. And it's human lives, but the big number of human lives are soldiers that are being killed on the battlefield.
anywhere from 5 to 7,000, sometimes more than that every single week. It's not even believable. It's a bloodbath. It's the worst since the Second World War, the worst number of people. And it doesn't affect us in any way. We don't pay anything because now they pay us for the weapons that they get. The NATO is paying us for the weapons, as you know. It doesn't affect. I guess you could say that's a positive thing. They pay us, but I'm not interested in that. I did straighten it out. Biden gave them $350 billion. Can you believe it? And all they did is get deeper in. It's a shame. Gave them $350 billion. A lot of lives were lost. That's a war that would have never happened if I were president. But we do speak about that. I speak about all of the lives, but I do speak about the civilian lives. Yeah.
The First Lady has done such an amazing job on the Ukrainian children who were abducted by Russia. Would you support Senator Lindsey Graham's bill to declare Russia a terrorist state? And you have within your power, you're the most powerful man on earth. Why don't you just enable Ukraine to finish this war tomorrow?
Well, if you knew anything about what you were talking about, you'd be able. You do. I don't think you do. Really, I don't think you do because it's a little more complicated than that. But it sounds easy. We're in the process of trying to make a deal. If we make a deal, that's great. If we don't make a deal, it'll be a lot of people are going to be paying a big price.
Quiet.
President Trump, so a question to both of you, if you don't mind. So
I love his haircut.
He's one of
I'm going to try that. No, I love it. Go ahead.
So, as we all know, China controls 90% of the global supply of critical minerals. They have launched attacks on Australian companies, primarily Lynas Rare Earths. What will happen to China if they don't play fair with this?
So, it's a very interesting question. We have a tremendous power, and that's the power of tariff. And I think that China will come to the table and make a very fair deal, because if they don't, they're going to be paying us 157% in tariffs. Right now, they're paying 55 to 57%. When I was first president, first term, we had the greatest economy we've ever had. And as you know, people don't write too much about it, but China paid us hundreds of billions of dollars worth of money for tariffs. Biden left it, but he didn't enforce it. He gave exceptions to almost everything. And so he left the tariffs, but he didn't really collect the numbers that he should have collected, and because he didn't know what the hell he was doing. So now the tariffs are much higher in China than they were before, and they're high on other countries depending on whether or not we like that country or we get along, and that's for national security purposes. So I made deals with Japan, I made deals with the European Union, or the whole of Europe practically, but the European Union, made deals with a lot of different people. We have a very fair deal for, I will say, Australia's paying a low number. They do have, I'll change it, we have a little bit of an advantage in that one. I told you, the advantage we have is airplanes. We sell a lot of airplanes to them and they need them. It's a very vibrant place and people go in and out, and I look forward to going there myself. And I think it's unlikely I'll be taking a ship. That's a long journey. That's a long journey. But China has treated us with great respect. Now, in the past, they didn't treat other presidents with great respect. They would take hundreds of billions and even trillions of dollars out of the country, and they would spend it and build their military. Now they're treating us with great respect. Now, we'll see what happens. I said, if we don't make a deal, I'm putting on an additional 100% on November 1st. I think we'll make a deal. They threatened us with rare earths, and I threatened them with tariffs, but I could also threaten them with many other things, like airplanes. You know about airplanes, because they can't get parts for their airplanes. We build their airplanes. We do a great job. They're largely Boeings. And we could stop the parts. We did stop the parts, actually, when they did the initial threat. They closed down over 400 of their airplanes. But we don't want to do that. But we have a much simpler thing. If we don't make a deal, we'll charge them a very substantial tariff. And they'll be paying us hundreds of billions of dollars a year, which they're basically paying right now. We had presidents that allowed China and other countries get away with murder. We're not going to allow that, but we're going to have a fair deal. I want to be good to China. I love my relationship with President Xi. We have a great relationship. I believe after we leave South Korea, we'll be there together. We thought that would be a good place to meet, and we're going to be meeting. I'll be in Malaysia, I'll be in Japan, I'll be in a couple of others. We'll be sort of doing a little bit of a tour. I've been invited to go to China, and I'll be doing that sometime fairly early next year. We have it sort of set. But I think we're going to have a very good relationship with China. And again, they will threaten us with rare earths. I don't think they're threatening us too much right now. But they could do that, but I threaten them with something I think is much more powerful, and that's tariffs. Because at a certain point, they will not be able to do any business with us. At a certain point, if they pay enough tariffs, it's almost like saying, we don't want to do business with you, but it's probably nicer. Saying you're going to pay 158, 157% tariff is a nicer way of saying that we don't want to do business with you. And if they don't do business with us, I think China's in big trouble, I'll be honest with you. I think China is, I don't know that they even make it. I really do. I believe that they're in big trouble. And I don't want them to be in big trouble. I want them to do great. I want them to thrive. But we have to thrive together. It's a two-way street. I think when we finish our meetings, and it's going to be a big deal. Look, I'm meeting with a lot of other countries, but this seems to be the one that people are very interested in. I think when we finish our meetings in South Korea, China and I will have a really fair and really great trade deal together. I want them to buy soybeans. They stopped buying our soybeans because they thought that was punishment. And it is punishment to our farmers, but we're not going to allow that to happen because I made a great trade deal with China, a $50 billion trade deal, and they were great about it. They were doing everything that they were supposed to do. And then when Biden came in, you know, I used to call President Xi all the time to say, thank you, or you're not buying enough. In other words, they were supposed to buy. Biden, do you think Biden ever called him? I don't think Biden ever called him. You think Biden lied awake at night thinking about trade with China? He didn't know what he was doing. He was an incompetent president. We had an incompetent president, but you don't have that anymore. So I think we're going to end up having a fantastic deal with China. It's going to be a great trade deal. It's going to be fantastic for both countries. And it's going to be fantastic for the entire world. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Keep going. Thank you, press.
There, my producer has confirmed that one of the cameras did literally smash into a mirror. Trump like acknowledged this, like this is a nightmare. Donald Trump making a strong play in that part of the world. This is obviously the danger zone with China right there. Very close to Australia. Very close to sort of the diaspora of influence there in the South China Sea. Australia borders it all. And so this is a critical play for that land. And Australia is a massive and resource-rich land with a conservative in charge. I don't know, man. Australian politics is weird. I'd like to study it more, maybe a little bit more, but they got a funny little land down under down there. Donald Trump having a great time, and obviously the Prime Minister of Australia loves President Trump and is handing him, well, everything he wants on a silver platter, and that's just what you get when you get the White House in the golden era. Continue that golden era with your verse of the day from Micah 6:8. Act justly, love mercy, walk humbly with your God. Walk humbly with your God. That God is in control. Ensure that he is the master of your life. And you will have peace. You'll have clarity. And you'll have vision. And you'll be able to march forward onto victory, like we do on this show, every single day. It is your boy, Benny. Lots of energy, lots of exciting things in the future. We cannot wait to see you, meet you, greet you, and save this country with you. See ya.
Out here in MAGA country, we care about responsibly sourced free-range. So when I heard there was a No Kings rally, I said, yes, Queen, because I know where to get the top shelf. Right here in Nancy's backyard, San Francisco, the best wild-caught, sustainable free-range in the country. JD gasses up the jet, and as your president, I personally deliver this organic in a strafing run. Welcome to Trump Farms. It is good shit.
TV screen, stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade, cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade, cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light.